Hi, hello, and welcome. We are broadcasting live from GlobalAIPreneurs, the premier global gateway and unified operating system for trusted AI enterprises. Right now, we are witnessing an unprecedented paradigm shift. That AI landscape is expanding exponentially, stretching across 8 plus categories and over 120 distinct technologies. Yet, this explosion has brought an unintended bottleneck. Enterprise buyers are facing severe decision paralysis, investors are swimming in unvetted noise and brilliant founders remain isolated from the cross border institutional bridges they need to scale. The results are clear: capital inefficiency and deployment friction. Promoted by the Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade and the Global Council for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics. Global AIpreneurs was built to change the narrative. We are moving decisively past passive directories. We are a multi-layer engagement engine spanning technical, operational reviews, and community rankings, connecting enterprises' demand directly with trusted AI supply. Operating across our primary global hubs in India, Singapore, UAE, Saudi Arabia, the USA, the UK, Switzerland, the EU, South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, and Nigeria. We are bridging the gap between raw potential and institutional deployment. Today, as part of our visionary interview series, we are chatting the future of this ecosystem. Joining us as a leader who embodies exactly what it means to build with high intent, high density, and absolute impact. Please welcome our distinguished speaker, Dr. Dinesh Chandrasekar. Dr. Dinesh is the CEO and founder of Dinwins Intelligence First Consulting LLP and an accomplished enterprise strategist with more than 2 decades of global experience across the USA, EMEA, APAC, and China. Having held leadership positions at organizations such as Scientific GE, Hitachi, Citigroup, and Bacteria, he has led large scale transformations in AI innovation, governance, and enterprise strategy, delivering over 200 programs that generated more than $1 billion in business impact. A PhD in information science and an MBA with executive certifications from MIT and Wharton, Dr. Dinesh is also a board advisor, author, and mentor to more than 100 founders. Through Dinwins, he is helping organizations build intelligence first, AI native enterprises that combine human intelligence, organizational wisdom, and agentic systems to drive sustainable growth and innovation. Dinesh, thank you for joining us today to help the shape of the future of global AIpreneurs. Yes. So, my first question, with more than 8 years of experience across global markets, how do you envision generative AI, agentic AI, and intelligent systems transforming enterprises over the next decade?
Okay. See, first of all, before we talk about AI and intelligence, 250 years from the first industrial revolution to what we are today, today we call this as an intelligence revolution. Many times, when people talk about moving the labor from human to machines, that's how it happened from the first industrial revolution to till date, actually, right? So intelligence was always an expensive and a scarce commodity. So intelligence was not embedded for the organizations. It is always believed that it's an expertise and humans that move the organization to the next way. Okay. Suddenly, 36 months down the line, I mean, last 36 months, a lot of things have been shifted and we have abundance of intelligence available today, right? But the systems that are built over the last 2 centuries, 200 years, is not really equipped to handle so much of intelligence. So what happens here is when intelligence becomes abundance, but your systems and processes are built not to able to digest the entire intelligence, that's where the challenge is. Even though there is a lot of models that hyperscalers have released, why organizations are still struggling to adopt this intelligence is because the system, processes, organizational hierarchy, everything is not built to consume that intelligence today. So that's where I see this as a challenge, right? Now it's important for the organizations to put the intelligence first, right? For them to transform an ability to consume all this intelligence that is available today. Okay, that's where the challenge is today. And that's where I see people like us who have seen the industry for the last 3 decades. right? I've been through multiple transformation initiatives with the Fortune 500 companies. The way it started with the mainframe, I started my career with the mainframe and worked in 40 different technologies before I landed doing some work on the AI space with Scientific. That's been my erstwhile company before I started something on my own with Dinwins. I realized whatever that's happened in the past, okay, it's only just a precedence to what's happening today. And we are up for a big revolution that's coming with intelligence, and that is going to transform and take the organization to take 2x potential, if not more.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those valuable insights. So, moving to our next question. Through your intelligence first operating systems, you emphasize human intelligence extraction, organizational wisdom, and agentic intelligence. How can organizations effectively leverage these capabilities to become truly AI native enterprises?
A good question, Sushma. See, there was a recent report that was released by MIT Nanda, where it said 95% of the Gen AI pilots failed, only 5% were successful. Okay. That's kind of it's a disruptive message because we thought AI is a disruption that's coming in. But what we fail to understand here is it is not a plug and play. If it's a plug and play, it shouldn't be the 95% of the pilots failed. It should be the other way, right? 95% of the pilots would have succeeded and only 5% of the failure. So it tells us something very, very important, right? Intelligence is not just a AI. There are three important components of intelligence, I would say. The first comes the human intelligence. The second is the institutional intelligence slash wisdom. And third comes the artificial intelligence. So when you fuse these three, then only any intelligence first initiatives will be successful in any organization. What people fail to understand is they think AI can replace human knowledge and intelligence, which is wrong, right? The premises of automation is the answer for everything is not the right way of looking at this kind of transformation. Okay, so intelligence first operating system brings these three components together: human intelligence, institutional wisdom, as well as the latest and greatest of the technology which is available. Today it is AI, tomorrow it could be a quantum computing,
Yes.
okay, or it could be something else that is coming in. I call this the frontier technologies. That means in the forefront, which is kind of uh, consolidated, superior technology that derived its position today from the erstwhile technologies that have come, right? So frontier technology today is AI. Tomorrow it could be quantum. After that, it could be something else. Okay. So organization should bring together all this. Let me give you an example, right? Assume an employee who spent 20 years in an organization. I'm not talking about whether he's a CXO or a director or a VP. Think about an employee spent 20 years in an organization. There's a fantastic amount of intelligence he carries about the organization. And assume this person retires after 20 years. What is the best way to capture his wisdom? Right? He could tell you, go back 20 years, he tell you 2000, this happened. This is how we handled this issue, right? Any amount of system cannot capture the kind of intelligence or a knowledge. Okay. So there is the intelligence AI gives an opportunity for us. Like, for example, if you use a chat GPT or a cloud, what it does, there is a memory in is there, right?
Yes.
The questions which you asked in the past, maybe 2 months, 3 months, it tries to create a link between them and create a memory and a loop. So when Sushma asks a question, you know what context Sushma is asking. When Dinesh asks a question, you understand what context Dinesh is asking. Likewise, there is a knowledge that's been carried by the employees, the leaders in the organization. It has to be preserved and has to be consolidated as an intelligence. That is one layer. The second is an institutional, right? For example, we have many Fortune 500 companies. Take, for example, Unilever, FedEx, UPS, or for that matter, even Microsoft and Apple, which is almost close to 50. They've come across 4 to 5 decades today. Many of these IT players itself, right? Where is this being crystallized? This intelligence has been crystallized. What worked for Unilever might not have worked for PG, Procter and Gamble, right? So what is the competitive differentiator they had? and how they are being captured in the organization, how it is being leveraged and amplified by the new technology that is coming in. So that comes the institutional intelligence. Then third comes the frontier technology. So the magic happens only when you bring these three things together. Human intelligence, when I say human intelligence, is a consolidated intelligence of the who's who of the organizations. It could be a mission operator to all the way to a CXO, it doesn't matter. Second is their competitive core competence of this particular enterprise, which is the institutional intelligence. And third is a frontier technology. The frontier technology becomes a variable here, not the first two. The first two is standardized and kept as a fixed one. The variable is a technology here, and we try to amplify. Even AI, for example, what is yesterday's AI is very different from today's AI, and today's AI might not match what is coming tomorrow. AI itself is moving, right? So you cannot say that, you know what, I remember when I worked in some of this packaged application like Oracle, SAP, Microsoft, we used to celebrate every 6 months there is a release. There has to be a minor upgrade or a major upgrade that comes. Before that upgrade, we all kind of gear up to learn these new things that are coming in, right? Now, overnight, like for example, if I go with an assumption 9 p.m. tonight saying that, hey, I understood something that happened in this world, the morning I get up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., it's not the same world and it's not the same understanding. Everything has changed. Something is happening in China, something is happening in US. Europe comes with a new regulation policy, right? How do we organization catch up with this, right? If I implemented something with the latest technology as of yesterday, today morning I get up just to be told that it is redundant. It is no more the greatest and the latest, right? Things keep changing. Then look at the geopolitical situation. Trump comes and says that that particular model is I'm not opening up to the other parts of the world. Okay, so one part of the world carries the latest and greatest. The other part of the world is denied access to that. Then how is the intelligence is equal across the organization? So these are all like a combination of the things that are happening in the technology space, as well as a lot of geopolitical influence. Say, for example, what happens in US is very different from what's happening in China. They both wants to be the superpower of AI, but China's approach is different. US approach is different. When you ask the question, which is a superior, we don't know. What is the statement of superiority here comes here is what can give a great value to an organization. It is not the latest and the greatest of the model, but when they fuse the all three components of intelligence and they're able to deliver a value. What is the value here? The value here is as an employee, I get few hours for me to upgrade myself. The work which I used to do, which took 8 hours, now I can do that in 4 hours. The next 4 hours, I get an opportunity to spend that quality time in upgrading myself, spend more time with my family, think about what's coming next for me, right? Similarly, the cost for an organization where I spent $100, now I'm spending $60, okay? And the productivity in terms of the organization savings, the enrichment in the product and services, so the customer is ready to pay more money. When a customer pays more money, your profit margin increases and you in turn gives back to your employees and then to your respective governments, right? That's how the AI is kind of amplifies the productivity, reduces the cost, and gets more people, get more things for the people in their hand.
Yeah, that's very interesting perspective. So, moving to next question. Having advised enterprises, startups, and boards on AI governance and transformation, what practical frameworks should organizations adopt to ensure that AI systems remain responsible, ethical, and aligned with long-term business objectives?
Okay, that's a nice question. See, first of all, what we need to understand is the objective of this enterprises which you mentioned, right? Say, for example, a startup, an enterprise, probably a government, for example, a sovereign authority. Each of them have a different objective. Why startups exist? Say, for example, like you talk about global AIpreneurs, right? Why we need a global AIpreneurs in the world, right? Every time there is a technology that has come in, starting from the mobile cloud, now AI, tomorrow it could be quantum. What is the startup entrepreneurs are trying to do? First question, right? The first thing is they want to make life easy. They want to make enterprises and the society with less problems, more solutions. Right? Today we have more problems with less solutions. Now AI tells the world that I have a solution, tell me what is the problem. Right? AI gives you a platform to solve things. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying we have less problems, but you have a platform ready. You have to plug and play the problems and try to solve it. It could be a clinical trial, or it could be a messy traffic. You try to find a solution with an AI, right? In the past, what happened here is there are plenty of problems and people build technology to solve the problems. But AI is kind of turned the tables around. He said, hey, I have a solutions. How much ever data you pour, how much ever explain the problem to me, I'm ready to answer to them. Okay. So startups are trying to disrupt the problems with a solution that's in place given by the AI. What is the enterprises trying to do? A little different. See, startup many a times, I'm not saying most of the times, many a times they're starting at a fresh slate. I mean, they take a problem fresh and solve it, and they reach a status of a unicorn or go beyond it. Take, for example, Anthropic, right? Anthropic started very new. It's only 3, 4 years, Anthropic, and now we are talking about it reaching a close to $1 trillion valuation. Think about an enterprise like a Boeing, right? Or a Unilever or a UPS or FedEx. They are in existence for over so many decades. And there are companies and banks which exist for over 2 centuries and centuries, right? What they are trying to do? What they are trying to do is they carry a lot of baggage, because these companies and enterprises, they've accumulated so much of systems, so much of knowledge, so much of people. Like take, for example, TCS today, right? TCS, one point of time, we talked that as a pride of the country. Today also is a pride of the country. I'm not denying that fact, but today they see the people as a baggage. When they want to trim, it's not possible. Okay. Now, what they try to find it is, how do I optimize with AI? Startups use disruptive AI and try to solve problems. The big, large enterprises, whatever they have invested, they want AI to compress them. Can I compress my infrastructure so I can bring the cost down? Can I compress the number of people I'm paying for? Right? Compression layer. So they get more headroom with less cost that can be used to service their customers. Like, for example, TCS wants to be servicing the customers with AI with less of people, more of solutions coming from AI. Then look at governments. Suddenly, governments are feeling that they're not much dependent on people to solve them. Take, for example, the India today, right? The the erstwhile approach of solving a problem is to have an administrative layer where you have the IAS, IPS of for different departments. Then they bring in all those vendors and contractors who can work along with them. And then they put a system together to solve the problem. Suddenly they feel that there is an AI system which understands many of the things, because this AI system has been trained in a way of all the knowledge that has come from administration, system, processes, flaws, what happened in the past. Government, you wanted a sovereign AI. Take, for example, the latest thing that is happening today. Few months back, or not a few months back, few weeks back, we had a uproar of the youth fighting for the something that happened with the NEET examination. They want to reform the NEET. They want a fail-proof or a foolproof NEET examination. Now, who was brought in to solve that problem? Nandan Nilekani. Why Nandan Nilekani was asked to chair that solve the problem? Because they feel intelligence has to be the core. Otherwise, in the past, what normally we used to do, we bring in the best academicians, vice chancellors, put all the universities, chancellors to come and brainstorm and try to find the problem. Today, why they want to put Nandan in that center of the things and still have the other experts coming around? They feel that intelligence is capable enough to solve problems. Okay, so that's how AI is very pervasive. It can do many things for many people, but at the end of the day, if organizations, the governments, and the startups they're able to use it in a proper way that is going to amplify the growth for the respective sectors.
Yes, I think that's those are like important principles and points where every AI, global AIpreneurs and entrepreneurs have to look into it. So you have mentioned more than 100 founders and lead large-scale enterprises programs worldwide. What are the biggest opportunities and challenges for startups looking to collaborate with global enterprises in the age of agentic AI?
See, this has been happening over a decade. I started this exercise when I was in Hitachi in 2014. Started as more like somebody reached out to me saying that, you know what, few startups, they want to understand what is the Internet of Things. That's how it started, right? So at the time, I was thick of doing large scale projects for the big companies and some cities as well. We were doing smart city projects. A decade back, smart city was the thing of that. Everybody spoke about smart city. In that, IoT was a big thing, right? Oh, I don't know how many people, because you don't need an infrastructure to make a city a smart city, right? AI itself will take care. That's what the people are talking about today. Things have changed. So there's been exercise, I'm doing it for the last 12 years. So along the way, I mentored multiple startup founders, right? And there is a lesson from there for them and lesson for me as well. Wherever I felt that they're going to succeed, they fail. Wherever I felt sometimes that this is not promising, and they surprised me with a success. Okay, so it happens both ways. I won't take the credit of because of me mentoring, something has changed, right? But there is a lot of mutual learnings that happened the way. What I see, uh, the gaps which I've seen 10 years back, not many of these gaps have been filled till date. Still, they exist as two parallel lines. Organizations, for example, very few organizations were able to successfully collaborate with startups. The same is true with the startups as well. Very few startups were able to successfully leverage the enterprises and take their solutions to the global customer. Okay, so the synergy was missing. The reason I've seen that is it's more of a mindset. The enterprise have a way of solving a problem, which is like a magnum opus, right? For example, they put everything, all the resources, we come up with something huge and try to fix the problem. Whereas startups, they focus more on a one particular persistent problem, put our best to solve the problem. Okay. So enterprise sees that the startup people are looking at small things. The startup says, you know what, these guys are like, they want to be everywhere. My solution won't be solving a problem for everything. Okay. So the enterprise, what they should do here is they should give space for the startups to come in and strengthen their solutions. Okay. Give them an opportunity. They should not see that, hey, they are good only in this. So we will use them. After that, I don't see there is an opportunity for us to work together. Whereas the startups also, sometimes what happens there is too much of a focus on a product, right? End of the day, I tell you, it doesn't matter product or a service or a solution solves a problem, right? Say for example, if you have a very severe headache, okay, what are the options before you, Sushma? For example, first option is you open your refrigerator, there is a tablet which you used to take, you take a tablet. Assume you are being relieved of the headache, right? That's one progress thing. You feel that somehow that the tablet might not solve the problem, so you don't want to take a chance. Like for example, after taking this tablet, if it doesn't work, it looks very different. So I have to go and see a clinic. I want to go to a clinic. You meet a clinic doctor who is known to you, or maybe your good friend. Hey, you know what? Hey, I'm having this headache, man. Looks little different because I am having only one side of the headache. Then your friend will say, "Oh, Sushma, this looks like a migraine at the starting stage, or you had too much of fun yesterday night. So I give you this injection or this kind of ointment. You put it for a 2 or 3 days. Let's assume this solves the problem in 2 days' time. He told you, just take this medicine. I'm giving you this injection. Put this ointment. 2 days after that, hey, fantastic, it worked. The third thing is it's a recurring headache. So your first two solutions, I took a tablet, I met my friend in the clinic, it's not solving. So where you would go? You go to a proper hospital. It could be a small hospital, big hospital, because you feel there is something literally wrong. Okay. Now, then probably I wish nothing big, right? But just take it as an hypothetical example. Maybe some nerves it got pressed, or some issues with your being you watching more of web series and all this continuously binge watching. It caused you one of your nerves to go haywire. So the doctors prescribed no Netflix for next 2 weeks. You have to do a proper rest. You have to take this medicine, go and do a MRI scan, blah blah, whatever it is, right? All of them have solved your problem at different stages of the issues which we had. A similar way, now you can plug in these examples of what startup can do, what services can do, and what platforms can do, right? Whichever that makes sense for you, you can plug in. So it is there existing to solve problems at a different levels. Okay. Every startup which is successful becomes an enterprise. Right? Today, can you call OpenAI a startup or an enterprise? The sheer amount of revenue they get, the sheer amount of valuation they get, nobody would say that is a startup. Because the definition of a startup is the moment you become a 1 billion in valuation, you're a unicorn. After that, you are an enterprise. There is nothing like, you know what, I'm what do you call? A Diocon or something like that, right? So you're a unicorn and then you straight away move into an enterprise. So what startups are aspiring to do is they want to become big. When they become big, they're enterprising. So it's the same thing. It's a mindset change is what required for these people to come together and work. So enterprise should understand the onus is on them to make every startup a good enterprise. Okay. Similarly, a startup should have the respect for the enterprise, thinking that they also started as a startup. Like Infosys in '84, it's a startup. So the startup should not feel that, say, for example, sometimes myself, when I'm in a younger crowd, they come to a quick judgment. Hey, this guy looks like a old man, right? He's an uncle. I don't think so. How he understands the technology. So they pass a judgment very quickly, thinking that I don't know enough. I've been just been respected for my experience. That's what many startups, like a 21-year-old, 22-year-old. The same is true with myself. I look down on some people. Hey, this guy has got only 1 year experience, man. He's just out of a college and he calls himself a CEO or a founder, flashes a card and says it as if he knows everything in the world. Okay? Set aside that. It doesn't matter how you see the people. Two of us coming together, can it be a deadly combination to solve a problem? Is how we should be approaching to work together as a startup and enterprise. So when I go and work with a startup, I understand this is a green field. This guy knows fresh. He doesn't have a baggage. I come with a lot of baggage, a lot of experience. So where should I plug my experience and give him a space to implement what he knows much better than me on the technology space, whereas I can advise them what possible things he should take care so he will be successful rather than seeing it's a one of a solution. Okay. So it's always the combination and synergy of people coming together, startups and enterprise coming together, startups, enterprise, academia, and government coming together. All this has to be a more of a synergetic exercise than thinking that who can solve what.
Yes, those are extremely valuable insights for enterprises and innovators as well. So, successfully scaling AI solutions requires not only the technical excellence, but also like trust and execution and the strong partnership as well. So, those are the excellent points. So, before we conclude, I'd like to ask one final question.
Yes,
Global
please.
AIpreneurs aims to become one of the world's leading ecosystem, connecting AI founders, enterprises, investors, like governments, researchers, and technology leaders. Based on your experience, how can initiatives like Global AIpreneurs accelerate AI native transformation and foster meaningful collaboration across industries?
Yeah, so it's very important. it creates a belonging. I belong to, say, for example, today one of my friend asked me, hey, I told him I'm doing a session for GlobalAIPreneurs. What excited him the way it's a very nice term, man. AIpreneurs. This is the first time I'm hearing. Okay. Uh, I said, so what they do? I said, hey, I don't know, man. This is the first interaction I'm going to have. And then I looked at your website and all this, right? So what people, it's a little philosophical, I want to say, but it looks philosophical. It's not necessarily a philosophical one. People should get the confidence that there is a backing for them. Whatever they do is meaningful. Okay. So when multiple AIpreneurs come together, the beautiful thing about this is we are trying to solve the same puzzle and everyone is part of the puzzle. I bring in, say, for example, from Dinwins' point of view, I want to focus on a strategic consulting. I don't want to compete with a person who is doing better cloud, open AI, open source AI implementation, right? Because my strength comes on the strategy which I've implemented for the big organization. So I solve one part of the puzzle of how do I strategize and help the startups, enterprises. Whereas one person is very, very focused on, I want to optimize the token usage. Tokens, every big enterprise is guzzling tokens and they're exhausting it within 2-3 months. So he's solving that particular problem. So put this global AI entrepreneurs in the map of it, right? So we bring so much of this entrepreneurs, startups, enterprise, governments, everything together. End of the day, we are going to solve the problems and make AI available to everybody. So the one motto of global AIpreneurs is to democratize intelligence. Right? So if you have democratized intelligence, think about it, right? You can solve any problem you want.
Yes, that's true.
Could be a problem with respect to the traffic. It could be the problem with the sanitation. It could be a problem with overspending, ability to get the right healthcare for everyone. Right? Today, not everyone has got the access to the good doctors. You and me in the city, of course, we have access to the doctors. We can meet them. We are ready to pay that money of 1,000 rupees, 1,500 rupees. But think about a person who is in the remote place of India, like sitting somebody in Ladakh, right? Or somebody in rural place of Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, wherever you call it, where they get to meet a doctor once in a week. The disease won't wait. The care needs to be given by the respective people. So the democratization of healthcare using an AI, somebody could reach out to them. Like, for example, there is a small chat window that is available for them where they can send their issues or suffering through a video or a text. Immediately there is a solution. Immediately there is an help. Right? This is one example of it. There is a floodgates that have been opened in one part of the country, and people are trying to scramble, saying how it's been solved by somebody in Europe. Suddenly somebody jumps in and say that, you know what, a similar kind of a flood situation happened. This is a landslide we experienced. So what happened in Kerala has happened somewhere a few months back, and how they've handled it and what possibly could be the solution, right? So for me, a global AI pronounce is an opportunity or a privilege for you guys to democratize intelligence. In this process, you are going to bring every other party coming together. Some would benefit with building a great enterprises, make a lot of profits for them, build great solution. Some would be solving the societal issues. Some would make sure that the humanity exists. It won't be like AI is not a threat. Like, for example, the responsibility of AIpreneurs for any one of them is we are not here to predict the doomsday. You know what? AI is going to take all your jobs, right? Everything that is there in this world is only for the humans and for the other living beings. AI also is going to be one of the trustworthy technology, which is going to make sure this the humanity exists and it amplifies and grows.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your inspiring vision, your insights, the importance of like collaboration and responsible innovation and the collective intelligence and shaping the future of AI. So we look forward to exploring how global AIpreneurs can continue to drive meaningful impact across industries worldwide.
It's my pleasure, Sushma. Nice talking to you. And you asked me some of the very pertinent questions, which was always going on in my mind, right? Because when I started this, I used to head a company as a country head chief strategy officer. When I stepped out, I was asking this question, what I'm going to do very different as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
That's why I'm more of a solopreneur, I would say, even though I have few partners, because I felt I can create an impact alongside with an AI. So I
Mhm.
have my own digital twin. I run a lot of agents. Now I don't feel the need of having a team. It doesn't mean that I don't want to employ people, but I feel empowered of using all these intelligent things that are available for me. And possibly when I step to do something more, that is where I look for more human intelligence and build much more a very robust institutional way of doing things. Okay, so thanks for this interview, and it's been a great reflection for me as well. Never expected this to be like uh, it would serve me as a reflection then for answering your questions. Right? Thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. I think that gives our audience a lot to reflect on. So, what an exceptional and inspiring conversation, Dinesh. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing your valuable expertise and inspiring vision with Global AIpreneurs community. So, to everyone joining us around the world, thank you for being part of today's session. The future of artificial intelligence will be shaped not only by technological breakthroughs, but also by international collaborations and responsible governance and shared innovation. So, if you are an AI founder, innovator, investor, or enterprise leader looking to become part of this growing ecosystem, we invite to join us at Global AIpreneurs. So, thank you for joining us today. Until next time, keep innovating, keep collaborating, and together let's build a trusted AI future. Thank you for joining us today, Dinesh. Have a great day.
Like my pleasure.